Ah, yes. The series that made me question the anime community's intelligence. For starters, I'm not what you people call an elitist, I just don't bother with most anime unless it catches my interest. And seeing how Studio Trigger co-produced this series, I was excited to see how it would turn out. Of course, I procrastinated, and got bombarded by weeaboos proclaiming their love for a fictional 15-year-old girl. Eventually, I did watch it. I gave it the 3-episode rule. I hated it. I went on a long and angry rant on how stupid it was, and how fucking retarded people were for saying this was the savior of anime. I then lost a bet, so I forced myself to watch more. I still hated it, but episode 6 actually showed promise, until it pulled some world-class bullshit out of its own ass, but I'll save that for later. Later down the line, I heard it was ending. I was happy, but then I realized something. Anime reviewers tend to either be afraid of their audience, endorse boring shit like Ray creators, or just focus on one thing only. For Darling in the Franxx, they only talked about the world building. That's it. Nothing else. They just said how amazing and deep the world building was. And eventually franxx got so far up its own ass it even ruined its only claim to fame. So I watched the rest. The next 6 episodes were worse. Episode 7 was just boring, nothing happened besides the bitch who gets pregnant finding a book on pregnancy, and watching the male characters ogle the female characters, since this was a beach episode. But eventually, it did start showing signs of improvement. Episode 15 was notable, since the cunt Ichigo actually went through some character development, as little as it was, and it was kind of entertaining. That's the thing. Darling in the Franxx is at its best when it's just mechs fighting giant blue dinosaurs. Unfortunately, it thinks that it's Neon Genesis Evangelion. And there is multiple layers of evidence showing this. Anyways, onto the first part, the story and plot. The story begins somewhere in the 2020s, where a younger Dr. franxx gets hired by Ape, a bunch of faggots who own too much shit and wear monkey masks. They fuck up the climate so bad a kaiju gets out of the ocean and fucks shit up until they nuke the fucker to death. This freaks out Ape, since this was caused by them using magma to power everything in the world, and make pretty much everyone immortal with it somehow. So Dr. franxx builds a robot from the corpse of the kaiju, now called a klaxosaur. Unfortunately, Dr. franxx is retarded, and doesn't know how to pilot the robot he made. He gets countless people killed in it, even his own wife, after finding out he made it so that people who have working genitals can pilot it. Forgot to mention this, but being immortal apparently makes your dick shrivel up and disintegrate. So only mortal people can use it. This leads Ape to abandon the cities in favor of giant moving biodomes that I guess support life. As well as raising kids to pilot them, but when they grow up they become emotionally unstable assholes. Dr. franxx finds out the location of the klaxosaur queen, and goes out to tell her to fuck off. She rips his arm off, he gets a boner for her and declares her as the ultimate life form basically. He then clones her and takes her DNA to try and become like her, I think. This clone is 02, the only reason people like this show. They basically torture her and beat her and laser her all the time because Dr. franxx seems to get a raging boner from it. Since he does it so much, you'd think he has all the research he needs. This leads into Hiro, one of the future pilots. He's special, because he's the main character, also he becomes beloved by his peers because he got the urge to name people for some reason. Eventually he boys up, I guess. And breaks 02 out, bonds for a bit, makes a bunch of weeaboos keep watching because it's a red little girl with horns, and weeaboos eat that shit up. The soldiers come and mind wipe Hiro, and take 02 back to Dr. franxx's sadomasochist dungeon. Also a gay kid got cucked because Hiro didn't remember he promised to do gay shit with him. This leads to the first episode, where Hiro fails to pilot the franxx yet again. And for some reason, his co-pilot is deported for his never-ending failure. I guess Ape felt bad for fucking him over. Anyways, he wanders around spouting exposition until he goes to the lake where he meets 02 again, and she's swimming in the lake completely naked catching fish. Yep, that's some mighty fine world building, if I say so myself. Anyways, they bond for a bit. 02 declares Hiro is her darling, she gets taken back by the soldiers. Also, I forgot to mention this, but Hiro ingested some of her klaxosaur blood as a kid, and that somehow mutates him later on. Anyways, Hiro wanders around bitching again, when a klaxosaur attacks the biodome and 02 goes out in the main robot Strelitzia, which totally doesn't sound like the name of a stripper, and goes beast mode on it. It has no effect, so she lets Hiro in, and since he's the main character, they kill the klaxosaur. In episode 2 everyone freaks the fuck out and tries to separate them since apparently whoever pilots with her dies after 3 times. Of course, Hiro is the main character, so he get over the Dinoids. You could say that's because he ingested her blood and it mutated him, but that already makes no sense at all, and coming from a series that has the tag, drama, on it, I expect some realism. This part introduces Ichigo, an annoying cunt who wants Hiro's dick. Except she's annoying and blames all of her shortcomings on him. Gee, sounds like she loves him. This is off topic, but dear god I hate these types of characters in anime, they are all the same fucking character, and it's overused. Fortunately franxx has 2 of them. Goody. The main cast consists of Ichigo, a cuck who's the only likable character since he has no personality, a fatty, a girl that cucks the fatty, a spaz, another bitch, and a lesbian. They all either love or hate Hiro, there is no in between. Episode 6 pulls a load of bullshit out of its ass and gives Hiro enough plot armor to survive Dinoids, which made me stop watching for a long ass time. That was also the least awful episode one saw at the time. Episode 7 is the beach episode. They just fuck around on a beach, and generic girl finds a pamphlet on pregnancy and suddenly has a sexual awakening from it. Also the fatty, spaz, and Captain Bland ogle the female characters' boobs and butts. How classy, franxx. This is nothing but fanservice. In a series that takes itself dead seriously. Then again they also pilot in the missionary sex position, so what was I expecting? I still don't know if this episode is in the biodome or not because then how is this beach not all dry and dead, but then there's an abandoned town next to it. It's all stupid. Episode 8 begins with fanservice. Apparently the Klaxosaur blood or jizz or whatever melts clothing. The males are then ostracized because then bitch 2, named Miku, goes full feminist and condoms all men to one half of the house they live in I guess. This ends up backfiring, and she gets more whiny and bitchy, and complains so damn much it made me hate her more than I already did. Also she starts bitching some more because 02 doesn't give a single fuck about separation, and has fun with it. This episode would have been alright I guess, but then it gets serious out of nowhere, and shifts into widescreen for no reason. I say for no reason because they never do this after episode 15. Also apparently the men feel bad for not letting the women walk all over them enough, and the women feel bad for walking all over the men too much. Of course, Miku gets triggered, goes into a closed-off room, and gets traumatized because there used to be pilots living there but now they're dead. Yeah go fuck yourself Miku you self-entitled thought. Episode 9 focuses on the love triangle with Captain Bland, main character, and Ichigo. Basically Captain Bland wants to clap Ichigo's cheeks so badly, he tells Hiro for some reason, and he reveals his feelings for Ichigo, she whines a bit, and nothing really changed. Episode 10 focuses on Spaz meeting what is obviously his parents. It's unremarkable, the only thing notable is the terrible character design for parents. I'll put an image up to show how lazy and stupid it looks. Episode 11 centers on gay guy being a dick, and stealing Faddis's girl. Gay guy brutes the whole time and Faddis punched him once, and suddenly he realizes he was being a fucking asshole. Soon girl wants to fuck him. Episode 12 is the definition of edgelord. 02 basically goes insane for no reason and Hiro gets fucked up, and generic girl almost rapes gay guy. Episode 12 man. It pissed me off. It has a goddamn jump scare. It pissed me off so much I forced myself to keep watching that episode. It's not just the jump scare that was laughably edgy, it was the line uttered by 02, don't reflect me. After she smashed a mirror. Episode 13 is the origin story of Hiro and 02 I already went on about. Next. Episode 14 had everyone automatically caring about Hiro, which made me coin the phrase character whiplash, where a character's personality is turned around so fast for the sake of the plot, it's physically painful. Also Ichigo says some stupid shit like, if you don't get rid of 02, we won't pilot the giant robots. Baka 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 baka. Bitch, they will straight up kill you or deport you if you don't get in the damn robots, you march your bitch ass into that robot, and let your co-pilot grab those ass controls, or you're fucking dead. Episode 15 is a climax to the first half, I think it's also where Studio Trigger left. So Hiro rushes to get into the franxx with 02, and he somehow breaks whatever it was preventing something I don't know anymore. So Strelitzia gets an upgrade. We don't see much of that upgrade. All it does is turn it red. Episode 16 is straight up filler. All that happens is some characters learn how to go fishing, and how to cook fish. I wouldn't have a problem if episode 15 didn't end on a cliffhanger with a giant fucking hand bursting out of the ground. And before I go into episode 17, everyone is all buddy-buddy with 02 again, despite the fact she beat the crap out of everyone in episode 14. Also Fatty is apparently doing some good old-fashioned scarf and barf to lose some weight. It doesn't work. Episode 17 is actually where generic girl zones out and almost rapes gay guy, but Spaz catches them. Also there is this group of pilots called the Nines, and they are annoying kiss-asses to Papa, or the head of Ape. And Papa forbid fucking and marriage. Gay guy isn't gay now and he fucks generic girl, who becomes pregnant girl. The people at Ape find this out, and mind wipe straight guy and pregnant girl, and they don't remember falling in love or anything. Fatty doesn't use this to his advantage and tries to get them back together. This pisses Hero off and he tells off Ape, and says after the next battle, he's done with them forever. They agree, because they have shit planned out. That was also episode 18 I described, so episode 19 was the breaking point for the reviewers because it straight up fucks up the world building they loved so much. I described this at the beginning, since it technically is. Episode 20 starts off with the main cast fighting off a swarm of klaxosaurs, until the queen comes out and takes over Strelitzia, and gives 02 the boot. Also the queen is designated as 01. So that means Ape put her in their ranks. You'll see why this is dumb. So the queen powers up Strelitzia, but tells everyone it's a bomb I think, and reveals the true villains. Tee hee ha ha. The true villains, ha 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 chortle. Get ready for this one, tee hee hee chortle. Verm is the true villain. Excuse me, but Verm is the stupidest name for an evil alien race I have ever heard. I don't know, some people take it seriously, but the way it was said in the dub made me burst into laughter. Look, at this point Darling in the franxx has completely lost it. It now wants to be wacky and insane like every other show produced by Trigger, and this includes ripping other shows off, losing all seriousness, and going into space, despite having reason to believe the franxx units were not made to be in space, but lo and behold, they had space armor all ready for them. Anyways, back onto describing the entire plot. Anyways, Verm, tee hee chortle, is killing pretty much everyone, including a few Nines. And somehow 02 is taking forever to get back to Strelitzia, and she's just walking around, bleeding red, so I guess her stupid goal of becoming human is working. I don't know, she still has the horns, so I assume the animators forgot she's supposed to have blue blood. Anyways, the queen is fucked over by Verm and 02 eventually gets back in, and upgrades Strelitzia to a form I forgot the name of, so I'll refer to it as my giant robot pony. It shoots a laser from the horn, and Verm is defeated. Until it isn't, because they actually don't have just the one ship. Before I go into episode 22, apparently humanoid klaxosaurs ruled over the earth until VIRM fucked them over, and they mutated into more beast-like forms. Also Ape was Verm the whole time. It kind of makes sense because some of the tactical choices made are so retarded, it's almost as if they were being sabotaged, but then you realize Verm controls Ape, which are fighting the klaxosaurs, and then you realize that they are the most retarded species of alien you've ever heard of since they were purposely sabotaging themselves. So then 02 merges her soul with my giant robot pony and goes into space with small klaxosaur ships I guess to kill VIRM. Unfortunately she still needs a pilot, so yeah. She's fucked. Until Hero notices this and bitches his on and off again friends to help him get to space, and somehow they have space modifications for their mechs, even though their rulers fucking left, Dr. franxx died, and they have been focusing on cultivating crops the whole time since episode 21. Hero pilots with one of the Nines, and they can function as either, so Hero uses a guy's ass controls, gets into my giant robot pony Strelitzia, the Nines die, Hero gets to the cockpit, and at this point he's more or less a klaxosaur humanoid. Some WTF imagery happens, picture book metaphor, and the robot transforms yet again, to have 02's face and cleavage. It's a bride. It's so stupidly obvious, but it's a bride centaur mech. If only the series wasn't so dead serious. Anyways, it takes a year for Hero and 02 to get to the VIRM home world, so they use 3 fucking time skips, with generic girl giving birth to a baby, flash forward to more babies, more crops, renovations of buildings and homes, and humanity basically rebuilds with wind energy, so the klaxosaurs fuck off. Onto the climax, Hero and 02 make it to the home world. Hero passes out from not sleeping for a year I think, some stupid imagery showing how in love they are I guess. They take the big klaxosaur bomb and set it on the planet, the bride centaur is broken down, and it rips off the climax to kill La Kill and Gurren Lagann where the main character turns gold, and the original mech breaks out of the big mech to finish the job. They blow up the bomb, kill all of Verm, Verm delivers its "I'll be back next time" speech, and they die. But not really, because I think their souls flowed down to earth into a tree that was grown from a seed that came from 02's shell of a body. They take the form of two little kids with an obvious resemblance and say, and another story begins. That's darling in the franxx, it better not get a second season. So yeah, it's a mess. For starters, it rips off Evangelion a lot. There are numerous examples of it ripping off shots from Eva, it's all on this account I'll link to if I can find it. But that's not all. Here are all the similarities I can find. Number 1, the twist. Oh no guys, the robots were the kaiju the whole time, it's not like Evangelion did that already. To be fair, I put that in my series, but I didn't make it a twist. Number 2, secret organization. Ape is Nerve with monkey masks. Number 3, the climax, it kind of rips off the end of Evangelion, it has the big organization betraying everyone, except not everyone dies and it doesn't get all mindfucky. Number 4, the stupid one-off episodes. I'm talking about the Miku bitching episode and beach episode, all one-off bullshit. Eva also had these, with the awful Magmaniver episode, and that episode where Asuka and Shinji have to do a synchronized dance to kill the Angel of the Week. Number 5, the opening. The only difference is that the Evangelion opening is godly and the franxx opening is pretentious. It does start off with a somber piano riff, then goes into WTF pop wailing, that I would never listen to ever. I'm glad that when I watched it the audio cut out in the opening. Franchise rips all this off and calls it inspiration, but they won't put in a random penguin character. For shame. Next, the characters all suck. They are all boring, have one personality trait, and are mostly unlikable. If I didn't talk about a character much, that's because they didn't do much. Next, the action isn't entertaining. It's mostly boring and uneventful. The final battle is just Centaur Bride floating towards the planet, firing a laser, and blowing up. It does get good sometimes, like episode 6 or 15, but other than that it's boring. Also, Ape is a shit secret evil organization. They fucked themselves over. If you await attention you'll know what I mean. Also, the editing is bad at times, like it'll go to widescreen for no reason, or the happy snappy ending theme will start playing during an emotional moment. By the way, the ending is generic Japanese pop music. Also, the tone is a problem. franxx seems to think it can have its cake and eat it too, by this I mean being dead serious and having a lot of boobies and ass in it, and it just doesn't work. Now, let's address the controversy. Core WCT me if I'm wrong, but I think it was Japanese fans who did this, but apparently fans of Bichigo sent her voice actor death threats because she forcefully kissed Hiro in episode 14, I think. Yeah, that's the worst of the fanbase. All the fans do is talk about who the best girl is. Spoiler alert, it's the penguin from Evangelion. Fuck you all. This is a war that originated from Evangelion, but migrated to franxx since it's ripping it off. Naturally, the best girl wars waged between Bichigo fags and 02 lovers. Spoiler alert, she's a manic pixie dream girl. And that's not a good thing.
World build, 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 world build.